Thank you for choosing to watch another free e-learning tutorial from dakinane.com. Today's video covers the glorious Storybird website. Storybird should be an essential literacy tool in every classroom, and our tutorial will take you through all that you need to know to set up your class and then produce your first book, as well as a whole lot more in between. So let's not delay a moment longer and get right into today's lesson. Storybird, in short, is an absolutely amazing website. I've been using it for a number of years now, and last year, to my utter sadness, they kind of half closed the site, and you were only able to read books. You couldn't create them. But to my delight, I've discovered recently that they've put the creation side of their wonderful service back online. So I'm going to take this opportunity here to run through Storybird for you and to show you the wonderful potential that this tool has for teaching and learning, and for particularly for writing. So storybird.com is the website you need to come to, and you are presented with this site here. Now, just a little bit of background about Storybird. It's a collection of absolutely fantastic art by a bunch of very talented graphic artists, and indeed you can actually upload your own stuff to that site, and those images are then used as the stimulus for writing. So for a teacher, it's an absolutely brilliant tool to engage students in their writing process, and the quality of what's created is amazing. So if you're an educator, when you get to storybird.com, you've got this option down here to learn more, and you just go through the sign up process. It is free. As I say, I've been using it for at least 4 years, and it's just fantastic. So I'm going to sign in because I've got an account, and I'm going to sign in. You can sign in with Google, obviously, but I'm going to sign in with my own account, and how you set things up is entirely up to you. Now, we're going to go to the practical side of all of this first to start with. So over here you've got classes. Now, I've got a 2011 class here that I created. Obviously, I make lots of dummy classes. I don't actually have a class of my own, but I use it a lot with other teachers. So you will be presented when you log in here with nothing at all. So this drop-down box here allows you to create a class. So let's create a new class. Let's create a new class. Let's call this DK2015. Keep up with tradition. So give it a school name. You put your name in here. Set your location. It's really important, and you can fill this form out as much as you want to and set your grade level. The beautiful thing about it now is that I used to use this mostly for year 1, year 2 students, but now with the upgrades that Storybird have done, that you can actually use this much higher up the school. So I'm just going to click on Add Class. So now I've zip code, all right. Okay, so it's a bit more stringent these days. There we go. So I've got my 2 classrooms now that I can choose from, so I can navigate between my 2 classrooms, and then what that means now is, of course, that I've got these options in each of my classrooms. So let's go across to my blank class, so come to 2015. So I can add or invite students. So let's go through how do we create students. So we'll add or invite students. Now, this site has been set up really, really well with digital citizenship in mind, and so you can make your students as public or as anonymous as you like. You can simply create a username. Now, if you click in the tutorial link that you'll see just below here, there's an Excel tutorial that I can show you that you can use to make your own usernames, and you would simply drop them in there. And you would use something like this down here, bulk account creation, rather than just hand typing. And it says to you here, you can auto create, or you can make a CSV file, upload a CSV file, which has got username, comma, first name, comma, last name, comma. That's how you'd set up your Excel spreadsheet, and upload them. But I'm just going to go back to manage students here. I'm going to add a student, and I'm just simply going to call this student student DK. I know who that is. And we'll call next person student EK. Etc. etc. Okay, add students. So I've now got 3 students in my class. Oh, I haven't done that. Yes, I have. Okay. So there's the criteria. So okay, remove that from the list. Okay, so I've got 2 students now, so I'm not complying with their criteria. It doesn't matter, I'm just making this up as I go along, but you'd work it out yourself. If you wanted to issue an access code, you can just supply that with your students, and when they come to log in, they will be challenged with a code. You can just use that to log in, so that's another way of doing it. So let's go through this. What we can do now is we've added our students. If you want to move students between classrooms, you can do so. I'll let you look through that, but most of you will be organizing students with one classroom and not moving them around. So I'm just going to come back to manage students and then come over to assignments. Right, so you can create an assignment. So click on here and we're going to create an assignment. So let's call this So you can see here I've just put this down here. What is the assignment called? A short story. The summary of the set of instructions, the assignment. I mean, you don't need to do this. We can upload an image here. So we can use this as the stimulus. This video here. Come back to here. Whoops. Come back to here. So we can limit it down here. As you can see, we can use all artwork in this case. Use a specific tag. So let's use a specific tag. Let's use animal because that's what I said. Now you can choose down here, depending on your age group, a poem, a picture book, or a long form book, multi-chapter. Now obviously this would be something for your more mature students. Picture book would be for and poetry. So let's do a picture book here. And then we can set the due date. And I'm going to set a due date for Friday week. And save assignment. So this is all the kind of teacherly stuff. And we can do all this kind of stuff in here. So here's my stimulus piece of work. Do this assignment. And we come back to our library now. And there's nothing in our library. So we've looked at all the key features of what a Storybird account can offer to a teacher, but we actually haven't seen the candy. We've seen how to add students. We've seen, look in here, we've seen all these bits and pieces that are going on in here that can't populate until our students start doing stuff or until we start creating content. And this is just the mechanics of Storybird, but this isn't the magic. So now that we've created our account and set our students up and created our class and created our first assignment, let's actually have a look at how you as a teacher can use this tool. So across the top here you can see you've got Studio, you've got Write, and you've got Read. So not only can students create their own books, but they can read the works of others. So let's just take this from a more passive point of view. Let's use this tool currently as a stimulus to facilitate more writing. So let's click on Read here. And what comes up is you've got 3 tags here. You can blog, we won't look at the blog, but we'll look at stories or we can look at poetry. So depending what you're looking at, we can look at poems, and we can look through all of these, or we can click through stories. So we'll click with stories first, but what happens in poetry, what happens in stories will happen in poetry as well. So you can start looking at some random ones at the top here that are kind of being promoted by the site, which is great. Now these will all be really good. Now one thing that I need to mention about Storybird is that even though you as a teacher may well be auditing and checking and looking at the work that your children are making for your classroom, and you might decide to keep certain items private, the moment you click publish to make them public, in other words they can be seen in the entire Storybird ecosystem, it actually doesn't stop there. What happens is then your desire to publish or make public a book your students have created is then validated by Storybird themselves, and anything they feel is not appropriate for the age range that you've actually selected the book for won't be made public. They won't delete it, but they won't let it be public. It will still be yours and be private. So it's a very, very safe site to be on. So your students can just click on these things and be inspired by other people's stories, and you can let your students browse through here. But let's just be quite specific about this for the moment. So if we look down here, each of these black or grey tags here is letting us know how we can look for this. So let's look at this. We want to look at a recent or popular this week or popular all time. Let's click on popular all time. We want to look at a popular all time book. We want to look, and I was looking at animals earlier on, so let's use some animal stories to inspire the students. So popular all time animal story. Click on here, let it refresh. And we want a picture book. Not long form at this stage, we want a picture book, and we want it for students between the ages of 5 and 7. So let's click on that option here, and every time it does do that, it sifts through, and down the bottom is a whole bunch of books here that your students could look at that can be created by other users. And look, you can see here this is 26 pages. This might be too long for some of your students. This is 8 pages. This is 13 pages. Let's have a look at this one, the Elephants of Exit 5. That just caught my eye, so we'll click on this, and you're going to get to see how this works. So what we hear is the cover. It's written by a Boonie Cat, and we can go full screen on this. I won't do that because you won't see all of it, but come back to here, and what we'll do is we'll just quickly scroll through here. So we'll click on the cover, and you can see how this is all laid out, and this is the artwork that's created by the site, and your students are free to use, and you can see that this is how it's all been going on. And so your students can do many things with this. With a lot of the other tutorials that I've created, you can combine these two things together. Storyboard is so full of great stories, it seems a shame to keep sending your students to the kind of full library. So what you can do is, if you find some stories that are relevant to the topic that you're looking at, you can actually take stories from Storybird and you can embed them in your own site. So although we've been enjoying the Elephants of Exit 5, what we actually want to do is not keep sending children to Storybird, because they could get lost or not read the story that you want them to read or whatever. So what we can do is we can, below each story, if they've been made public, they are embeddable. So if we click on the share icon here, we can copy the embed code. So we'll just copy that. And I'm going to rush through how we embed stuff. I've got other tutorials on how to embed, which I take at a much slower pace. So again, if you want to see how to do that, click on the link below, and you will see watch a tutorial on how to embed into various different services. But I'm going to put this into a Blogger blog. So I've copied my embed code. Click on here. I'm going to click on make a new post on this particular blog post here. I'm going to give it a title. And using the HTML code here, I'm simply just going to paste, and I'm going to have a quick preview just to make sure that's all worked. And so once I've done that, once I'm happy with that, I just click publish, and I can click on, and then you can see here My Elephants of Exit 5 story is on my blog and it's ready to go for the students. But let's get back to Storybird. So, your students can keep reading through this. It's 13 pages, but you can see what fundamentally what makes the story is the fantastic artwork, and then the story is written on the side here. So the read function in here is really, really powerful in terms of creating a good stimulus for your students to get into the act of writing, and using the images to scaffold them through that process. So reading's one thing, but let's get on with writing, the really cool creative stuff with writing. So now we move on to the meat of this fantastic app, really, or the program, Storybird. So let's move to the write option. So let's click on write, and a whole different thing pops up. So you can browse through this just by look and feel. These are the collections of artwork that you can look at, and your students can look through here and look through here and pick an entire collection. So you might decide to have a look at this one here. And this is the kind of artwork we're looking at here. We can go through here, and you can see that there's a whole bunch of stuff, simple graphics. We can use those if you want to, but let's come back. Let's look at some of the other options. Click back on here. So you might want to start looking for artwork that is, say, let's look for animals. And as you can see, there's a lot. So now we're looking at particular genres of pictures. So let's look at something. Well, I've been doing this today, so let's click on this. So yeah, I like the look of those. I want to use this art, so I'm going to click on this. And now once I've decided I'm going to use this art, I can decide whether I'm going to make a poem, a picture book, or a long form book, multi-chapter. We'll start off with just a picture book. Now what's happening now is that picture's been taken and a basic template is being made, and all the relevant artwork or related artwork is being pulled in here. So what you can see as I float over this, can you see the dotted line? This is where my writing's going to go, this is where my picture's going to go. We can drag your artwork into here. It's all very simple and straightforward, and here's our timeline down the bottom. We've got our cover, we've got our first page. So let's get into it. What I can do is I can move this art around, and as I move it around, the template adjusts to where things are going to be. So if I want text at the top of the page, I can put my I drag the art to the bottom of the page. So you can see I can move it around. So it depends. You can then start planning how the gutter is going to fall on your page, where your text wants to go. I want my text at the bottom of the page here. So here's my first page, and it's the flip side of the cover. If I come to the cover, I can now choose a cover style. So let's choose a classic. Now I want to get rid of that particular piece of art, and I want to drag this piece in. I want that piece there. Now on the right hand side here, left hand side here, you can see there is room for my title. And you can see down here is the author. So you can, assign ownership to this work. Now, what's really nice in terms of visual literacy is that depending on the artwork I choose, the color palette down here changes. You can see that there's this kind of these matching or complementary tones. So I'm thinking possibly I want that to make my front cover look nice. It was black. That's too heavy, I think. Click on this. Gives too much emphasis. I'm going to stick with the pink. I think that's quite nice. So click save, and I'm going to come back to my page here. So Here's my cover. Let me just show you how I did that. Click on here. My cover's being created, and I want to jump back to my books. Over on the right hand side here is this back arrow. I just simply clicked on that. So here's my page. I want to add another page. So maybe let's just add a few pages to see how long my book's going to be. And can you see here, cover, inside cover, and then pages 2 and 3, there's a gutter in them. So let's have a look at page 2. Let's add this picture here. I think I want the picture towards the gutter, and then on page 3 here, I think possibly I want this picture in the middle here. So there we go. There's these two pictures, and then let's go on to the next page, and we can start scrolling around. This, let's see, maybe I want this one. Let's have a look. Have a look at some of the pictures. What have we got? You can start sorting out and looking around here. Some of these pictures. Now there's lots of choice here, but you can actually decide how many pictures you want your students to have access to. Well, I just no. I want to add this picture to the top there. That's it. And my final picture is going to be monster, I think. There we go. The top here. Right. And so now, once I've created my story line of pictures, I can edit them. I think, well, maybe I don't think my initial bird is actually the right picture. So let's come back to here and see what other images I might want to use. Just move these things around. Come back to here, and I think I'm going to choose that one. There. That'll do us, which makes our front cover a tad incongruous now. So we'll just come down and have a look over here. But you get the idea. There we go. Right. And all that leaves us to do now is to write our text. So I'm going to click on here, click on my, that's it, have it there, my text down here, and I can just start typing. There's options. We can invite a collaborator. We can save it. We can publish it. Well, I'm going to just go through this process. I'm just going to add random text that your students can keep working on. And you can see, you can add as much as you like. You can make it collaborative. I'm not going to do the full. Oh yes, I've put the top there. That's a full page. I don't want that there. Add some more text. And finally, my finishing story. You can hide your work by clicking on this option down here, but we need to click on save, and what we want to do now is save and close, and you will see that in my work here, my stuff, there's a whole bunch of unpublished work here, which is I haven't sent off for moderation. But let's just say, for example, I want to. Now I know they're not going to accept that because this doesn't make any sense. You click on here and you click on publish. And what pops up is a whole range of options down here. I can change the cover, give it a summary, scroll down here. Now this is the really important part here. To make it searchable, you can decide where it fits in. You can give it some tags so it can be found, and crucially you can say what the audience is. Okay, and finally, when you're ready to publish it, you make it public, and then down the bottom you have to submit it for moderation. Now that's moderation by Storybird themselves. So even though you've gone through the process as a teacher and I'm logged in as a teacher, even my work is going to be moderated by the community. So it's a very, very safe site to be at. I'm just going to click back on here, click back on me. And so it's a really, really powerful tool. So finally, let's just come back into Write again. And you can look at the different formats. Let's go and look at, let's go and choose this artwork here just quickly. We're going to go and look at poetry currently. We're going to use this art and we're going to make a poem with a single image. Just wait for it to catch up with us. And now, what you can see here is a whole bunch of words that your students can just drag in, and you can have a look at all of this stuff, which I think is really cool. One of the key things about this poetry tool is the words you get given are they're not editable. So basically the students have got to work with what they're given, which in one level is forcing them to think about what they can do in terms of the words they've been given, but can also make it quite challenging for them. As you can see, there's some punctuation in here and some a whole range of words, but they can't be edited. So if you don't like your selection of words, what you can do is come down to the bottom right hand corner here and click on refresh, and you can choose to refresh your words, and you get a whole bunch of new words. And if the students are actually finding the artwork difficult to find some stimulus with, what you can do is click on artwork, and it will refresh a new picture or a new set of pictures out of the collection that you initially chose. So it's just going to randomly roll through those. I find that quite difficult, that one. So let's click on artwork again. You think, oh yeah, I could work with that possibly. So let's look at here. Hello, grandma. There we go. Okay, so give me some warnings here. So hello, grandma. Stop. Now, so the word of warning here, though, is I've kind of been inspired by the first bit of my poetry here, and I think, okay, I need to carry on, but the rest of my words aren't working for me. So let's come back down here and think, I'll just add some new words. So let's click on words here, but you need to know this. So basically what's happening here is it's warning me that if I'm going to refresh, what I've already created will go as well. So I'm going to click refresh, and I'm all gone. I've got some new words. And so again, this could either be seen as a great kind of controlling or limiting or limited feature of this option, but it means that the children are having to think quite hard about what they're trying to say with the picture and with the list of words they've got. So, not every tool is perfect, but I think this is a really good tool to actually get children engaged in the writing process, whether it be long form, book writing, or picture stories, especially if they're making text for younger students. They've got to think about language, and again, as an introduction to poetry, this tool is really good, based on really fantastic artwork. So Storybird, gets 5 stars from me. I think it's an absolutely brilliant tool for the classroom and should be used in every classroom. So if you're not using it, start using it today. Thanks for watching this free tutorial. Your support is important to us and we value your feedback, so please leave a comment below, and also don't forget to like us. Finally, if you learned a lot from this tutorial and you want to learn more, why not subscribe to us and you'll be automatically informed of our latest tutorials when we publish them. We aim to do this every week. Click on the link above to subscribe. You won't regret it. Thanks a lot for your support.